Hey, welcome to Leading with Gratitude Live. I'm your host, Chester Elton, the apostle of appreciation, coming from the gratitude epicenter of the planet, Summit, New Jersey. This is the little teaser program before the big program tomorrow, which is at 1 p.m. Eastern time. I want to introduce to you my good friend, Jeff Kirschner. Jeff is one of the coolest guys I know. He's developed the Litterati app. His goal is to clean up all the litter and trash around the world. And this weekend is really a special weekend because it is Clean Up Litter World Garbage Day or something like that. So welcome to the show, Jeff.
Thanks, Chester. Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, so the September 19th is a big day for picking up trash. Now, give our listeners kind of the rundown on that, and then tell us a little bit more about you and why you are on this mission to pick up trash all around the world.
Saturday is what's called World Cleanup Day. It was started years ago by this group in Tallinn, Estonia. And it has grown into tens of millions of people all over the world coming together on this one particular day. You can only imagine that the impact is beyond significant. Yeah. My story started in a whole different way. It started on a walk in the woods with my two little kids. And my daughter, who was 4, noticed this plastic tub of cat litter lying in a creek. And she just looked at me and said, "Daddy, that doesn't go there." And I'll tell you, Chester, it was this innocent comment, but it was an eye-opening moment for me.
You know, isn't it funny? Out of the mouths of babes, as we say, right? And so you went on this question. You said, "Yeah, this is garbage. It's in the wrong place. We've got to clean this up and then clean up the world." And then you developed this really world-class app, the Litterati app. How long did that take you? And why did you decide on an app as opposed to, like, I don't know, a nonprofit company and a bunch of volunteers?
Well, the truth is it didn't start as an app. What happened after she made that comment was frankly a little bit weird. I photographed a cigarette butt using Instagram. So this is in 2012. And I then took a photograph of a potato chip bag and a coffee cup and just a bunch of things. And I noticed two things happening to me. And by the way, I was never an active environmentalist. But I noticed that one, litter became artistic, right? The power of Instagram, and therefore approachable. And two, after a week, I had 50 or 60 photos on my phone, and I picked up and properly discarded every single piece that I photographed. And I realized that I'm keeping a record of the positive impact I'm having on the planet. So I started telling people what I was doing. Again, at the time, it was just a hashtag on Instagram. And to make a long story just a tiny bit longer, at one point, we realized that if we wanted to truly define an experience that was in service to this mission of cleaning the world, we had to create our own application. And that's exactly what we did.
That's so cool. And now you've got all kinds of sponsors. You've got, 150 plus countries. Talk about how the countries started to add up. And I'm always curious about the sponsors because you've got some really interesting, some that are predictable and those that aren't so predictable.
So it has really grown organically. And I think what's happened is that we have just struck an emotional chord with people around the world. It doesn't matter if you live in Denver or Dubai. This is a problem that affects all of us. And it impacts the economy, the environment. It degrades communities. kills wildlife. And now with plastic waste and pollution in the ocean, it's literally poisoning the food chain. And so I think we've struck this chord. By providing a tool that anybody can use, suddenly they've become part of the solution. So I think that's really what has been the catalyst that has spread or grown this community to, countries all around the world. The organizations that we work with, they're not exactly sponsors. We offer a service, and we work with different corporations, NGOs, and most of all cities to help them do two things. One, engage their community. Doesn't matter if it's a 7th grade class or an entire city. And two, collect data. And we believe that those two ingredients, community and data, are really what is necessary to eradicating litter worldwide.
It's so interesting. I grew up in Canada. And when I was a kid, there was this huge national campaign, "Don't be a litter bug." And it just stuck with me. And, I love, growing up in British Columbia with all that natural beauty. What used to drive me crazy was there's these garbage cans all over the place. There's trash cans everywhere. And there would be trash around the trash can. And I'd go, it was a foot away. Are you kidding me? You couldn't you put it in the trash can. And it really is interesting that it becomes a cultural norm, doesn't it? That the expectation is that you're going to clean up after yourself. And yet, have you found that there are some countries that are just really good at it and really clean, like Singapore? I mean, it's got to be the gold standard, right? And then other countries that don't. And why is that? Have you taken a deep dive on cultural nuances?
Well, you're really, I think, focusing on one of the key insights that we have gleaned, which is it's not just about people who are mishandling material. It's not just about people throwing things on the ground. Other than a cigarette butt, when was the last time you saw somebody throw something? It doesn't happen that often when you compare it to how much is actually lying all over our streets and our sidewalks and our playgrounds. So you brought up the trash can. It's an infrastructure issue as much as it is a behavioral one. And so we like to say that in order to really achieve this goal of a litter-free world, you need 3 Ps. 1, you need change in policy. 2, change in packaging. And 3, change in personal responsibility. We believe that those are all 3 components that will really, set us off onto creating a zero waste world eventually.
Yeah, I mean, zero waste, that's really the goal, isn't it? You see so much. I mean, and there are certain videos that have really driven people to be more conscious. The straw coming out of the turtle's nose that went viral, and all of a sudden plastic straws are a no-no. Is that your hope for Litterati, that literally that when you buy an iPhone or you buy an Android, that one of the apps that you get automatically is Litterati?
Of course. I mean, what better way to automatically be in the hands of billions of people around the world? I mean, when you think about where we are societally, yes, the urgency of solving our biggest environmental problems are greater than ever, whether it's climate change, ocean acidification, plastic pollution. But the good news is we are seeing a confluence of, 1, cities now have zero waste initiatives. 2, brands are taking tons of corporate social responsibility. And 3, people all over the world are now armed with these tools, mobile phones in their pockets, that as mini computers can allow them to A, connect as a community, and B, create massive sets of information, data that we've never had before. Those 3 things are really getting us to a place that I believe we can solve this problem.
You know what I love about you, Jeff, is you're always looking for the next big thing, another application. I remember you telling me the story about, so you've got all this data. People, well, so what? Like, what do you do with that data? And you share that data with cities and states and governments to help them in the cleanup, don't you?
Yeah, to us, it's all about knowledge. Is for sharing. It's meant to be there for the public benefit. And if we can be a catalyst for people consuming from and contributing to this massive information set that is growing rapidly, what better way to serve the planet? If that's the role that we play, that's something that our company is really, really proud of and very focused on. So I'll give you an example of how that data can be used, because look, is technology important? Yes. Is data important? Absolutely. But it's the change that's created, like you said, Chester, that really moves us forward and excites people. Here's one quick story. A group of students in California, in a town called Modesto, used Litterati to pick up 1,247 pieces of litter just on their schoolyard.
Wow.
They learned from the data that the most common type of litter were the plastic straw wrappers from their own cafeteria. So these kids went to their principal and said, "Why are we buying straws?" And they stopped. Simple and effective.
Isn't that is just so cool. So, as you're talking, is this a generational thing? I mean, do you really have to start and educate like young kids? Are they the ones that are most active on Litterati? Do you see some generational differences, or is it just everybody across the board?
It's sort of everybody across the board, but the commonality is less of a demographic and more of a psychographic. There are people in the Litterati community who just really care. It doesn't matter if you're a 55-year-old woman who's been walking the beaches of Santa Monica and cleaning up for decades, or a 15-year-old student in South Korea who's really into the data and wants to understand at a root level what are the insights we can glean from these what are the insights we can glean from all this data. We tend to attract people who don't want to ask for permission. They just want to take matters into their own hands, and B, people who are craving to meet others who are also contributing to this greater good.
Yeah, and creating that community has become very powerful for you as well. Have you found that people, just being aware of Litterati are picking up garbage, even though they may not register it on the app, that's starting to change behavior in the app or out of the app?
Absolutely. I think it all starts with awareness. We have some people who have, my dad, perfect example. So my dad is 70 some years old. He's not going to photograph 100 pieces a day or 200 pieces a day like so many people in our community do. But he's the biggest Litterati fan there is, right? And he'll pick up a wrapper here and there. And I'm sure, because he's told me, that we're having a lot of influence on his behavior, not only in when he walks by something that doesn't belong there, but also what he purchases. So he'll go into a store and maybe choose not to purchase something simply because of its packaging, because he knows that he has now seen that packaging lying on the beach where he is, right? Or lying in the streets where he lives. I think the ripple effect, which is, I think, yet to be determined, has the potential to be really powerful.
Great. Well, this is the teaser program. We've got 30 action-packed minutes tomorrow. It's 1:00 Eastern time. Get your friends involved. We're going to talk about how you can get involved. September 19th, World Cleanup Day. I mean, we should all get involved in this. Download your Litterati app and join us tomorrow. And think of some questions you want to ask Jeff. How can we get more involved? How can we get our kids more involved? How can we really be a part of the solution? We've all seen the pictures of, garbage on the beaches, garbage is in the ocean, plastic all over the place, straws coming out of turtles' noses. This gives us a chance to really make a difference for one day, clearly, that hopefully will ripple through the behavior of our kids and our families and our communities for years to come. So it's 1:00 Eastern tomorrow. Join us on LinkedIn. We're on LinkedIn. We're on Facebook. We're on YouTube. We're even on Twitch, where we only have one follower, by the way, and it's my son. So, so join us. So what more can you say, Jeff, as we kind of wrap up this little teaser program to get people excited to join us tomorrow and join you and the millions of people you've got around the world picking up trash on Saturday, September 19th?
Start with one piece. Keep it really simple. You're not going to clean the whole planet by yourself, but you're going to be part of a community that's all contributing to the same greater good. So join us.
Yeah, how do you clean up the world? One piece of trash at a time, right?
There you go.
Well, cool. Well, listen, we will see you tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern. Join us on LinkedIn Live. We'll stream it everywhere. Let's make a difference. And Jeff, can't tell you how grateful I am for the work you're doing and that we've become such good friends. It just means the world to me.
Me too, Chester. Thanks so much.
See you tomorrow, everybody. Grateful for your time.